Hey, alchemists. Welcome to our rainbow series. Our theme is Defy Gravity. And we defy gravity by transmuting those things that weigh us down. That's the part of us that needs healing. But see, usually that's all hidden in our shadow. So we defy gravity by developing an awareness about where we are living our life through our wounds rather than our light. We learn how to take responsibility. We develop our inner authority. And this is how we become spiritually empowered. We call forth the light, the grace, the quality of spirit that we need in that moment to do whatever comes next. So, in living our lives, we see the world as a mystic, in that God is everywhere present. God is everything that's ever been and everything that's yet to be. It is within us, as us, and within everyone else, as everyone else. So we see into the world as the mystic, but we act in the world as an alchemist, meaning we stand in our own authority. No matter what happened to us 10 years ago, no matter what happened to us 10 minutes ago, we know as an alchemist that we get to decide how we're going to show up right now, going forward. So we transmute the weight of our suffering, which is that metaphorical lead. We transmute that lead into gold. So today, I'm going to talk about the shadow and the grace of the third eye. Of course, this is represented by the color indigo. Now, when I first heard about the third eye, back when I got into all the New Age teachings, those were so fun. And, most people I knew running around in the New Age circle, they were only interested in developing their third eye and their crown, right? Nobody cared about the rest of the chakras, right? Because everybody wanted to be psychic. Now, I wanted to be psychic, right? I was all like, I want to see dead people, okay? But see, actually, the third eye is not woo-woo at all. It is the energy center of intellect, mind, brain, and intuition, right? It is our mind at work in our ability to evaluate our beliefs and our attitudes and to analyze what is working for us, what's not working for us. It's through our third eye we experience direct revelation about the best way to do the next thing we have to do. It's here we find the light in the darkness. Now, the shadow of our third eye is envy. And envy is when we get super focused on something that we believe should be ours, even if we didn't work for it, right? And so we envy things people have, right? We envy somebody's nice home or their beautiful family, or that they have a really fulfilling career. We may envy how much money they make, but we can also envy who they are. We might envy their power, their talents, their charisma, their abilities, their accomplishments. And then in our own life, it can start feeling like our life is working against us. Like, why is it super easy for other people, but not for us? It's so unfair, right? So we're in our shadow. We go into our shadow. And if we're in our shadow, we're not in the rhythmic flow of giving and receiving, which is what runs the universe, right? When we are in the shadow of envy, we just want to receive, right? Just give me the stuff I want. I want the universe to do all the work. I don't want to have to work for it. Okay, so I have experienced envy, and most of us have, but I've experienced it in a really big way, maybe 10 years ago. And it was another singer-songwriter, and she was doing really good. Now here's what I envied. She started after I did, and she was making a lot of headway. she was doing great. And she was going out and playing all these open mics and doing so many things, getting festivals and all kinds of stuff. Well, I wasn't doing any of that. I wasn't doing any of that. I was sitting at home and I was writing songs and I was wishing that something good would happen, right? But I was not doing any of that. But still, I felt cheated and I felt like it wasn't fair because I was doing it before her. That's what I thought. It's not fair, right? Well, it can feel as if we are being cheated out of things that we think should be ours. That's what envy is. Like we feel like we're legitimately cheated out of something, and we're not authentic when we are in envy. Envy keeps us from being authentic, right? Because when we're in our shadow, we don't trust that divine within us. We don't trust ourselves. And so we will believe that we are just incapable of doing something, right? We're incapable of trusting in God if we don't believe that we are capable of acting on what we are guided to do, right? So we don't trust divine direction because it's not telling us what we want, or it seems too hard, right? We don't want to take a chance or risk anything. In our shadow, we are struggling against the current of our own creative expression. Envy causes us to diminish all the good in our lives. We reject our life. And that's what I experienced when I was envying other songwriters who were getting out there and doing their thing. I would listen to their music and I would think it was great. And at the same time, I would think it's not fair that they got to write that great song, right? Why couldn't that be my song? I was diminishing the beautiful songs that had chosen me, right, to be channeled into this world, right? Envy is so toxic. We won't see the current opportunities available to us. We will only see missed opportunity, right? Envy is poison. Envy is poison. Now in the book of Proverbs, chapter 14, verse 30, it says, "A heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones." Envy rots the bones. When I read this, what came to mind was watching time-lapse video on old fruit or something rotting, like how it just breaks down, right? When we are experiencing envy, we're sucking the life out of our own, we're sucking away our own vital force energy. We're sending it out someplace else, right? We're sending it into our regrets and into where we wish things were different. Envy rots the bones, but it's grace. It is grace that gives us that peace, right? So that we give life to the body. Now, the grace of the third eye chakra is sacred knowledge. Now, in its purest form, it manifests through us as a revelation about the nature of the divine. And it's actually in our spiritual DNA to seek God and to seek the experience of God, to seek the experience of the divine. And we grow into this grace, right? We grow into this grace by moving through 3 categories of knowledge, or going through basically like a shift in consciousness, okay? So the first category of knowledge would be information, and this is where we are gathering data. We want the facts about the next thing to do because we actually aren't walking in faith, right? We're not trusting what's within us. And usually it's maybe we're a little worried or we have some anxiety. And so we're looking outside of ourselves. We want to look at the data because we're worried about money, food, shelter, and safety. Now at this level, our belief is that life happens to me. Life happens to me. And this is to be in victim consciousness, right? We think life's out there and it's either throwing good our way or it's throwing struggle our way, okay? Now, when we move into the second category of active knowledge, here's where we get some awareness of inner guidance, right? Now we're feeling it inside. Okay, there's inner guidance. Oh, there's something within talking to me, right? But here we're going to be motivated for our personal need for comfort and ease and the things that we want to experience. So it's still usually about me and what I want to experience, right? We might study in depth the tarot to look, to find our life purpose. We might delve into the Enneagram, right? To figure out how, what is our talents? What's our best talent to express? And there's nothing wrong actually with seeking this kind of knowledge, right? Because it can take us into the next level, which I'll talk about in a second. But see, here at this level, we are turning into our inner awareness for stuff for us, okay? How it looked for me is like, I want to talk to my guides. I want my guides to tell me what to do, right? And I want to become a famous psychic, or I want to be famous like the guy in the movie The Sixth Sense, okay? So at this level here, we believe that life happens by me or through me. So you can see that at the first and second category of knowledge, life is still something that's out there. And it's either happening to us or we're happening to it. I'm going to happen to you, life. Okay? Now our third category is this sacred knowledge. And it's knowledge revealed through grace. Now this is mystical illumination, right? And we receive mystical illumination. We have the inner awareness, but it's for the good of all. Now an example of this would be God is all things. God is all things. When we receive mystical illumination about what that really means, all of a sudden we want to share that with everyone, right? Because God is all things. That means that I am an expression of the God force. And that means you are an expression of the God force. And can you imagine, if we all really truly knew this, how we would change the world, right? We are an expression of that force that puts the galaxies into their spin. So now when we have this mystical illumination, we want to put it to work for others. So we go from believing life happens to me to life happens by me or through me to now knowing. We move past a simple believing into a knowing. Life happens as me. I'm a soul and I'm using a body to do this stuff in the package of my life. Now this is what the sacred teachers were sharing. They wanted to share this sacred knowledge that they understood at such a deep level because they wanted to serve others, right? Great teachers like Moses or the Buddha, Yeshua the Christ, Muhammad, these were spiritual leaders, and they caused an evolution of consciousness because they received mystical illumination that they wanted to share with anybody who could listen, right? And they served as a rising tide, helping others to move out of suffering, right? They believed everyone should be able to use this information, right? So they received mystical illumination and they used this to serve humanity. They were revolutionaries. They were not perfect, but they were willing to be led. They surrendered to divine will, right? Personal will or divine will. Now, our personal will, it's what we want to do, what we think will be simple, what we think will be easy, what we believe we're capable of, right? Yeah, I could handle that. No problem, right? But see, with personal will, we have itty bitty vision. Itty bitty vision. We just see just this little part. In divine will, we have a greater vision. Greater vision, because when we surrender to divine will, we can see through the eyes of God into this world, right? Okay, and life then completely changes. When we are willing to surrender, life completely changes. So we act on the sacred knowledge, right? Not just for ourselves, but for each other. And we expand the good in our lives. We become the rising tide. And revealing this sacred knowledge to others, that it's our nature, it's our divine design to be able to expand the good. And it's in our spiritual DNA to desire this deeper connection with the divine. And then we demonstrate that. And we demonstrate that we can do it. If we can do it, anyone can do it. And the best way to the best way to reveal sacred knowledge to others is to live it, right? To set an example that we're demonstrating the good in our lives, and this is how we do it, right? They can receive it when they are ready for the truth to set them free. Now, we can be bombarded with truth all day long, right? How many of us have all the spiritual books? Like, I used to read so much, all the spiritual books, right? But I became overread and underdone because I was just reading. I was just gathering data, but I wasn't living it yet, right? When we start living it, people see we're living it, right? If somebody is living their life with true inner peace, right? And you notice they don't judge, they don't get caught up in all the politics or divisiveness, right? And you might actually say to them, what do you got going on there? Like, why are you always in this state of peace and acceptance and loving your life? How did you do that? And if they say, like, well, I got to process. This is what I do. And this is why it's called being of service. Right? Being of service it's not about servitude. Being of service is living this mystical illumination. It is stirring up the gifts of spirit, and it's calling forth the graces, right? To do our very best. And then as we do our very best, this act of creation reverberates into our life. That reverberation, that vibration, that is what lifts others along the way. Not what we tell them to do. Well, you should be living your life like this. No, it is our reverberation, that living a beautiful life, listening to the divine within. That's what lifts others along the way, right? Our desire to know source at work as us, it's not contained to just our thoughts or our mind. That expands out into our lives. That's why it affects other people. In fact, this is why sacred texts can still reveal sacred knowledge, because of the reverberation. Even though they're thousands and thousands of years old, they still carry the vibration, right? We are the incarnation. This is from Carolyn Mace, okay? We are the incarnation of the sacred quest itself. We cannot stop ourselves from seeking the divine. Perhaps the only choice we have is how conscious we want to be about the journey of becoming conscious, right? Is it life happens to me? Is it life happens through me? Or is it life happens as me? So here's our call to action. Start with our affirmation. I'll say it and then let's say it together. I am a player in the game of life. I am a player in the game of life. You know how I like to say that here we are on playground Earth, right? And we're playing up to the next level. That's how we get qualified as we go along, okay? And that we can be like the great teachers who set examples. We don't have to be perfect, right? We just have to be willing to surrender our personal will, right? Our personal will, tiny vision, to divine will, which is the grand vision. And that's how we play this game, right? Which is calling forth more of the divine into the package of our life. You know, the vastness of us is in the unseen. And as we play this game, we call more of it actually into our life, right? We're calling it through us more, through our way of thinking and through our way of acting. We call forth more creativity, more joy, more love. So surrendering personal will, right, which you could say we're surrendering the struggle, to divine will, which is the flow. And then we listen and act when God speaks. This is the game, so that we go from believing life happens to me to knowing life happens as me. So here's our invitation. Are you honoring the gift of your life? Right? Remember, I envied somebody else so bad for a while that I wasn't honoring what I had created. And that felt terrible. Okay, that felt terrible. Now, sometime over this next week, you might probably, I know I usually have these experiences, most of us do, but we might have the experience where we ask ourselves, oh, why did this thing have to happen? That's not fair. Why are they having such an easy time of it and I don't have an easy time, right? Are we feeling like a victim? Are we feeling envy? Because we don't have to stay there. As a soul and a body, we can decide to show up differently. As an alchemist, we can stand in our own authority and take a stand right here and now. We can decide to ask ourselves instead, what cosmic truth do I wish to choose? Right? That God is all things and that means me, or everything is vibration, or as within, so without. Right? What cosmic truth do I want to choose right now for this moment? Right? So that I level up in this game. Right? Because I don't know about you, but I want to keep playing this game. I love this game of life. I am all in. 100%, I am all in. I am only interested in being an unstoppable rising tide. I am only interested in reverberating out mystical illumination, right? And I really want to do that with you, right? I want to be on this sacred journey with you, right? We are all on this sacred journey together, all of us together, because this is how we are creating heaven on earth. So remember for next time, we're divinely designed to be doing all of this, right? You've got that seed of light within you that knows what to do, how to do it, and it compels you to act on what it knows. You are a one-time, one-of-a-kind cosmic event. In everything you do, you are blessed, and so it is.